Hello and welcome to a Schematics Rimworld Basics. My name is Blind and I will be your host today. We are going to be covering the very first things you need to know about Rimworld when it comes to selecting who you are going to survive with, where you're going to land, and how you're going to go about doing that. What storyteller should you play? What difficulty? What does it all mean? There's a lot going on in Rimworld. In a later video, we will address the first few nights of survival. So for now, let's get started. First thing we see is scenario selection. We have an option of 4 scenarios: Crash Landed, Lost Tribe, Rich Explorer, and Naked Brutality. For the sake of this video, we are going to be playing as Crash Landed. However, I will pass through the others and show them to you briefly. Tribe, you start with a bunch more pawns, but research takes a lot longer. Rich Explorer, you start with a single pawn, but with a bunch of tech added already and some valuable resources, which is a problem which I could explain in a later video. Naked Brutality, you start naked, with nothing. For the sake of this video, we will be starting on Crash Landed. Meet the Rimworld Storytellers. These are the characters that will be running the background simulation of your Rimworld run. We have 3 to select and I will cover them briefly. For the sake of this video, we will be playing as Cassandra Classic. She hits you with a steady curve of difficulty, kind of going up at a decent clip. Second storyteller on the list is Phoebe Chillax. She gives you a long period of time to hang out and chill before hitting you like a bus out of nowhere and you never expect it. And then there's Randy Random, who can, for some reason, just send 10 people with machine guns on day 4 if he feels like it. Randy is completely random. He has no rules and no balance. So sometimes you will be doing just fine and sometimes he will completely romp you. As I said, for the sake of this video, we will be playing Cassandra Classic. Something else to cover, there are difficulties on this screen as well. They're pretty self-explanatory with tooltips. For this video, we will be playing on Builder difficulty. Reload, Anytime mode, and Commitment mode are like your traditional, it allows you to save, or Iron Man. And just like that, we're on the Create World screen. This is a very simple, small screen with not a lot going on. However, it's very important. This is where you design your seed and set up the scenario ahead of you. So we're going to type in Rim Basics for our world seed. You can use whatever you want. If you would like, you can use the same seed. We're going to generate 30% of the planet. That means that the planet's going to be much smaller and less overwhelming. If you would like to generate an entire planet, you can do that as well. The rainfall and overall temperature sliders are pretty self-explanatory. Rainfall, you'll get a much wetter, more temperate planet if you slide that all the way up to the top. And temperature will either give you a lot of deserts, a lot of cold, or somewhere in the middle. It's up to you. This is the Rimworld itself. As you can see, there are a bunch of different things going on the planet. These are all different factions, these little huts and houses and tents. The tents are little tribal factions, and the houses are advanced factions with similar tech to you, i.e. guns. The skulls are little raiders. We're also seeing various different biomes, rivers, lakes, and mountains. It's quite beautiful once you've looked at it for a little bit. If we scroll up to the north here, we see tundra. This map is flat, it's quite cold, minus 14.7 C, no growing period, which means they will not be able to grow food at all periods, so you'll be relying purely on hunting. This is a harder biome, this is not where you want to start. We're going to go a little bit closer to the equator, somewhere a little bit friendlier. So we're going to scroll down a little bit here and just see if we can spot a good spot. We're going to look for something with hills, we're going to look for something close to a road, and we're going to look for something close to friendly factions to trade with, or potentially people to become allies with. This is probably the most difficult part of Rimworld to get into, realizing and learning how to start. Generally, what I recommend for a newer player is look for somewhere with a decent growing period where you can grow a large amount of food before the winter, and try and play in either temperate or boreal forest. Those are probably your easiest starting biomes. Now we are on the character select screen, so I'm just going to quickly select some pawns, and then I will explain why I selected the ones that I did, and some things that you should look for, and some things that you should avoid. Down at the bottom, there's a thing that says Team Skills. This is very important. These are kind of the skills that are the most important. You should make sure that you have a good variety of all of these. Now, next to each skill, some of them have flames. If they have a double flame, they learn the skill faster, and they get enjoyment out of it. This means they really like the skill. If they have a single flame, it means they kind of like it and learn it faster than they would if they just were meh about it. Try and find pawns that are not super old, for various reasons, and try and find pawns with higher skills. You also want to look very closely at things that they are incapable of and their traits. If they are incapable of things like dumb labor or skilled labor, you're going to have a hard time. Traits can be very obvious as to whether or not they are positive or negative. Try and avoid traits like abrasive, misandrist, and misogynist. Try and avoid traits like depressive, for example. There are some very positive traits as well, which we'll maybe get into in another video. Here you have your crash-landed people, which are the first 3 pawns, and then the left behind. The left behind may show up in your game at other times. If you would like to go in and customize those as well, you can. However, now we have our selection of pawns. This whole process took me about 10 minutes. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see that we have most of the skills that we need. We're pretty well-rounded overall. We've got decent shooting, melee, construction, mining, cooking, plants, medical, and intellectual. The only skill we're really lacking in it is medical, but who needs first aid anyway? Come on, if you're missing an arm, it's just a minor flesh wound. And that concludes the very bare bones basics of what you need to know to get started on a run of Rimworld. In the next video, I will cover how to survive the first night. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, I recommend that you go over to our coffee and have a look at buying us a coffee so that we can continue to create videos like this, and so that our editor can continue to be locked in our basement and edit all of these videos for us. If you enjoyed this style of content, please head over to the Schematics YouTube channel and take a look at our other videos. We create a lot of talk show style and news and update content. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.